Welcome to Western Wisconsin Journal. I'm Bobby Pominville, your art reporter. Today I have an artist here to talk about various things, including sculpture. And she happens to be my former student. Her name is Heidi Sime. Welcome to the show, Heidi.
Thank you for having me.
It's great to reconnect with you. And just a little introduction. She went to Vesper College. She's a sculpture artist. She has done consulting in interior design. And she also has taught at the FIPS. And she's focusing right now on something called meditation creativity. But before we get to that, how did you get into sculpture?
Sculpture, yeah, that's a great question. Yeah. So when I was going to school for interior design, they told me, they were like, why are you here, basically? Because I already have a bachelor's degree. I have a bachelor's degree of fine arts from River Falls. Oh. And so then I went to interior design school, and they're like, well, why are you here? Like, why are you getting another bachelor's degree? And I was like, oh, I don't even know, because I thought that's what I kind of needed to do. Mm-hmm. I was recently divorced, and I needed to kind of like figure out how am I going to make money and support my young family. And they're like, well, there's this other college. It's called Vesper College, and you might not have heard of it, blah, blah. So I looked into it, and I found out that they offer a Master of Fine Arts degree in ecological architecture, which is interesting in itself. Like, you don't really hear about that a lot. So it's the only college like that in the United States, actually. And it's now since closed. In 2017, they shut their doors. But I looked into it, and my girlfriend and I, who were going to interior design school at the time, both decided we were going to jump ship and go to Vesper. And it was a tiny college. It was 22 people. Like, it was brand new. It was just like this man, Dan Noyer, just like dreamed it up. And I remember walking into the building the first day, and he said, we're going to learn how to weld. I'll teach you how to weld. I'll teach you how to pour bronze. I'll teach you how to do woodworking, and it's meditative, and we're going to use poetry, and we're going to use science. And I went, what? Like, all these things that yes. I've always been just like, I don't know, they've always swirled in my world. I've always written poetry. Oh. I'm a poet too. I've been writing poetry since I was in elementary school.
Great.
Yeah, but it was do it for me, you know, like that was like sacred to just me. Mm-hmm. But now here's this school that has like combining all these things. It was really cool. And I was interested in the architecture piece too. So what we would do is we would draw things, we'd draft them, like old school drafting with pencils and, you know, drafting desks.
Right.
And then we would translate that to an AutoCAD drawing. So now we'd be behind the computer screen, which it's not my favorite thing. The computers and I are not the greatest of friends. But then after that, so that's kind of like where the architects would, you know, stop or make a model. Mm-hmm. We then would go from making whatever we drew, I had to make with my hands.
Oh. So,
right? Yeah. So like everything that I'm dreaming up, you know, over here, I had to make in scale. Like, I made a 900-pound abode that a person could fit in. So I got really good at welding really fast. And then I became like the studio welding person, like the go-to person, mm-hmm. just because I had so much experience at that point. And I was like, oh, I really like this welding thing. So metal, like the iron, something about the magic of like having, I don't know if you've ever welded anything before.
No, that is a foreign world to me.
So it's like the magic of these two things, like, you know, heating up so hot that they like literally melt together and then solidify. And I just thought it was magical, and I think iron, there's something magical about iron and rust and, you know, all that. So, mm-hmm. So I became an instructor at Vesper, and I really just loved teaching people, and then I became art studio instructor. So I just kind of grew from there after I graduated, and it was fun, right? Like, that was fun.
That's amazing, because to me it's just so foreign.
Yeah, and it's scary. Like, yeah. I remember a lot of times,
because you're working with heat,
right? And like, and I, you know, this one thing, like I always tell people, like, when you're welding, you cannot, and there's a lot of other things in the world that are like this too, but you cannot have your mind wander. Oh, what am I going to make for lunch? Oh, what are the kids doing right now? Because the minute you are not present, you're burnt, or you're not going to get a weld. You have to be 100% present to that thing that you're doing in front of you, or you're gonna get hurt, right?
So you really got into that.
I did, yeah. And then we poured bronze, and that was cool. We did sand casting.
Yes.
It was really low tech, but I mean, I made my own chisel and then we had to make our own chisels, so then I could cut my own piece of limestone. Like we did a lot of like kind of primal techniques, I would say.
It's almost like ancient art.
Yeah, exactly. And that was like some of the premise of the school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is this an example of welding here?
For sure.
This one?
Yep. So this piece, this actually is not attached to it, but all of these little pieces, Bobby, they're all little micro welds. So I'm a TIG welder. That means tungsten inert gas. And that means I'm a surgical welder. So I have a piece of fill rod in my hand, and I have the welding, like the torch head, and I'm like this. I'm this far from 3,000 degrees. Like it's really like that. Yeah.
Wow.
So these are all separate pieces that are welded on. So this is a self-portrait that I did. A grouping of two. I did one of my boyfriend Thaddeus, and then this is me. And this is called Sagittarius Warrior.
That's wonderful.
I actually saw this heart piece.
Yes.
This to me it looks like the heart, ventricles or whatever. And I was like, oh, nail through it. I don't know. You know, sometimes.
I like it. I like it a lot. Now, how did you get the color on there?
Yep. So same with this piece, is spray paint. So I use what the graffiti artists use to tag trains. When you see the trains, we all use the same type of paint. It's called Montana spray paint.
But look at the design you've got on here. I don't know how you do that.
Yeah. So that's a stencil.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So these aren't stencils. Like I sprayed this first. This has a little stencil on it, and then I just block it off and then spray it. Yeah. So this has been out in my garden, so it's got some good patina.
All right. And see, this butterfly is my gift from Heidi.
Yes.
And it's going in my garden somewhere or in one of my pots.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
All right. Now, can we talk about that big one behind you?
This one. This is Donkey Girl.
Can you bring that up a little?
Sure.
Yeah, into the view just a bit.
Can you see it now?
Oh, but yeah, down a little.
Down, okay.
If you could on the floor.
For sure. Like that.
So that's what?
This is Donkey Girl.
Donkey Girl.
Yes. So some of these pieces and this piece, and for sure all of this, I plasma cut. So that's a table, and it's a torch, and it's big. It like sprays sparks everywhere, and they always go down my boot, and then I end up jumping around and going
Oh my word.
But so I draw on the steel. I get a big sheet of steel, I set it down on my table, and then I draw out what I'm going to do, and then I literally come back in with the plasma torch, and I draw with fire, and I cut her out of the steel. So that's the technique. So I freehand. So it's very organic.
I have no idea how you did that. So that was a very good explanation.
Good. And so
especially for people like me that know nothing about it.
Right. And so some of these pieces are scraps. So I have a metal worker friend. His name is Dan, and Dan the Metal Man, and he gives me scraps. So he has like these were cut out by his CNC machine, and I'm putting them together. Like to me, this is like, okay, how am I building this? And I see one piece, and then I see two, and then I see, and then I see her skirt. And then it just starts building from there, and then I arrange everything.
Really neat.
Yeah.
Now let's move on to this piece. We've got a lot of art here.
Yes.
And I want to put this one in. Let's put it right ahead of this one.
So do you want me to aim it this way?
Yeah.
Okay.
Straight ahead.
All right. So this is a canvas. So this is a steel canvas that I built, right?
Oh, I didn't think it was steel.
Yeah. Yep. So I actually have a show at Gallery 360 in Edina, and it's got two 2x4 pieces like this. They have big baskets on them, and they have plants from Tangletown. Do you know Tangletown?
No.
Oh God, Tangletown is awesome. It's a garden center in South Minneapolis.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's just like the most incredible plants you've ever seen.
Oh,
yeah, it's really
wow.
fun. Yep, a lot of art, like, that looks kind of like this.
That's neat.
So this piece is made from hot rolled steel. So it's got, if you can see a little bit of the bluing,
yes.
It's a patina. It's actually meant so that it won't rust. It just comes out of the extruder that way.
Yeah.
Out of the steel, from the steel mill. So you can get hot rolled or you can get cold rolled. Cold rolled will give you more of a rusty patina. Like that, because I take off the oil that it comes with.
Yes.
And so this is hot rolled, but I really liked how blue-gray that turned out, and then I stencil on top of it. And then I started building this little basket, and I was like, I actually made a large one of these for a hair salon in Stillwater.
Oh,
so it's in their entrance when you come in.
Okay. Yeah, and you know, some of it looks like outdoor art.
Oh, for sure. All of it is outdoor art. You can put this inside. Most people put these inside.
So gardens and...
Garden, but this definitely can be outside. It'll just rust faster if it's outside.
Yeah.
It'll oxidize more.
Yeah.
Yep.
So maybe we should, well, before we go to your mother's garden on the tour, could you tell me the dates of the Edina show?
Well, it's up right now.
Right now?
Yeah.
It's on now?
Yep. And I think she's going to keep it up through the end of the month.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And again, it's called?
It's called, oh my gosh, Gallery 360. There we go.
And that's not so far away.
No.
Could go and I could go there.
Right. Jump on 494.
Okay, now, before we go to your other art, there's some really neat things you're going to talk about.
Right.
I think we should say about your sculpture is going to be in the Artful Garden Tour.
Right.
Which I'm involved with.
All right.
And that is sponsored by the Women's Club, the Home and Garden Club, Hudson Independent Business Association. Nice. And when you go to the Sime Garden, now a lot of people know Alice and Mike Sime, so they very much know the family, especially your dad.
Right.
So the tour is coming up the end of the month.
Right.
June 29th and 30th. And your parents have graciously consented to put their house and their grounds and their gardens on the tour.
Right. Well, you know what's kind of nice is that everybody knows my dad.
Yes.
But my mom has this like hidden talent. She's a mosaic artist. Did you know that?
No.
Oh my God. She has 3 pieces that she just did. And she just sent me a picture last night. She has them out in her garden.
Word.
And she just loves to tinker with it. And she's an incredible gardener. You should wait till you see her hosta garden.
She has to be incredible.
It is out of this world. I mean, you just stand there and you're kind of like, what? It looks like something out of Jurassic Park. Like it is, I'm not kidding. It is out of this world. And every variety you can possibly think of. And there's pieces in there that look like watercolor paintings. I mean, it's crazy.
And it's not just that, but it's also your art that's going to be there.
Yep.
So you're going to have various pieces of artwork.
Yep, Donkey Girl will be out there.
In the garden.
For sure. Oh, there'll be butterfly. There'll be a whole garden.
That's what I was hoping
full of
for.
Butterflies. There'll be one full of dragonflies. And there'll be like just super colorful all over the place.
So now how is the art going to coordinate with the garden? I mean, what kind of things does she have, like flowers? Hosta?
I haven't gotten to that yet.
Okay.
So I'm going to go out there. I actually have a trip lined up. I'm going on a retreat to the Boundary Waters next week. Oh. So when I get back, we'll figure that out.
Oh yeah,
because she's still busy.
You still have plenty of time.
Right.
It's 2 weeks out.
Exactly.
So anyway, I'm very excited to see a garden with that much sculpture.
Right.
And mosaic.
For sure.
And you know, that's why we call it the Artful Garden Tour.
Nice. I love it.
We used to have artists sit in the garden and paint.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Long ago. We haven't done that for years, but we really have to do that.
What's that called? Fresh air painting, I think?
Yeah, plein air.
Plein air. That's
called plein air.
Yep.
So anyway, I hope the audience will consider going to that tour.
Yeah, for sure.
And let's see now. Okay, we're going to go into something I don't know a lot about.
Yeah.
I think it's something that's very beneficial for people like me who's flit all over. Meditation creativity, is that it?
Yeah, exactly. So I have done a few retreats. I haven't done a lot, but I've done a few retreats where they have actually hired me to come in for 2 hours. And so we'll have a group of like 20 to 30 people. So it's kind of a big group.
Yeah.
And we'll sit down and I will give like a background of the area, because I know some about the Dakota people that used to inhabit this land.
Oh, yes.
Specifically, more or less, Minnesota. So when I have taught these classes, it's been at a place called The Point, which is very special to me. And they have some ancient burial grounds on their property. So it's this dear friend of mine, Krista Rimmel, and she owns this retreat center, so it's called The Point, and her father was like a Renaissance man. So he collected so many incredible things. So she really wanted to give a background of like, you know, the history of Minnesota and the burial grounds. So then I incorporate that, because I was actually teaching that at Vesper part of like what I would do. I would teach about some of the Dakota ideas, and we would translate them into sculpture. That would be like a class that I would teach.
Oh,
yeah.
that's
So
wonderful.
yeah, it was really cool. It's called Dakota Stone. So you'd start with the rock, and then you'd, oh my God, I could talk for hours. but
and
we'll
see,
get back
I'm
to
from North Dakota.
Oh, okay. So Plains.
I know about the Dakota
Plains Indians. Yep,
people.
yep. So Dakota, Nakota, Lakota, right?
Yes.
So and I've So I spent some time out in South Dakota.
Good.
With some Native friends. So, but anyway, back to the point. So Krista wanted me to come and teach an art class, and I thought, what better way to like incorporate, like the place. Like place is really important, right? So we're sitting there. We've got these like seriously like 3,000 year old, probably actually more. Burial mounds. The place is very spiritual. There's a lot of like big energy there, and so I have people close their eyes, and we all take the same paper, the same pen. I'm not kidding. Like I bought 30 of the same pen, and a very specific pen, and we close our eyes, and we just, I don't want to say channel, it's not the right word, but we connect, right? So we're just connecting and trying to get into a flow or a zone, and then I of course lead them through that. I talk them through. It's kind of like guided meditation.
Yes.
And then some of the things, like this is a piece that I came, when I did that for my own. I was traveling somewhere. So
that's wonderful.
And then after,
let's show it right here.
okay. So then after I come back in with, they're called AD markers. Have you heard of AD markers?
No.
So they're called art director markers.
Oh.
And so interior designers use them because then they can make layers. So if they're trying to render what looks like this is kind of old school, everybody does computers now, but if they're trying to make something look like a wood floor, then they can, it's transparent, so it's got acetone in it, so they can layer and make it look dimensional.
Okay.
Yeah. So these are AD markers. So they look kind of like watercolor.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Let's show that one too.
So this is one of my favorites. It's called Kissed by Jack Frost.
And it really makes you think of things.
Right. So
you kind of tap in and you look at it for a while and you see
exactly
different forms.
That's the abstraction, things. Right? So that's what I teach.
Yes,
I teach about having an elevated conversation around abstraction.
Right.
So if I paint a flower, we have a conversation about a flower. If I paint Kissed by Jack Frost, now, like, this is what I teach people too. I'm like, well, what do you see? I'm more interested in what you see in the work, right? I'll give you a little nugget. I'll give you a little, like, this is a little title, just to get.
What does that title say? 'Cause
Kissed by Jack Frost.
Oh, yes.
So this is, I know what it means to me, but what I teach, when I'm teaching at the FIPS, I teach interior design. I'm actually teaching the kids to have these elevated conversations about abstract art because it's awfully intimidating to people.
I am intimidated by it. I was in an art class once in college, and it was just impossible.
Really?
For me.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, then I'm going to say you probably didn't have a good teacher.
No.
Yeah. So
I agree with you.
Yeah. So I'm like, I'm a good teacher, and I pull creativity out of people. And there's people every time I teach, somebody says, I'm the least creative person in the room, or I don't have a creative bone. I can't draw. I'm like, I can't draw either, but I do that with my eyes closed. Are you kidding? And most of the time, those people come out with fantastic work. And it's so ironic but you know what? Every person is creative.
I agree.
I wholeheartedly believe that. And when people say, like, I can't draw or I can't do this, it's like, you know what? We just haven't used our right brains enough.
That's right.
And at school, they teach you not to.
Yeah,
actually.
You're supposed to draw inside the lines.
Yeah, and and a lot of times, unfortunately, that in elementary school they teach you, okay, now you have to mimic this, you have to mimic that. A lot of mimicking. Well, this teaches completely opposite.
Yeah,
I want you.
That's great.
To be drawing something I've never seen before.
Yeah,
this is just another example. I actually made these papers.
That's so cool.
With beet. I made them from beet juice.
Oh my!
So they're tinted.
I love them because they look different than anything I've seen.
And so, like, I don't control that. Like this magenta, piece. There's like a little magenta, but the tint of them
I like that.
is from a natural root.
Oh,
So
that is so cool.
Thank you.
When I thought I was going to talk to you about that, I thought, I don't know what it is, but we'll find out.
yeah, right.
Great explanation, Heidi.
Thank you so much.
And that could be art for everyone.
It is.
People that don't have, ability or think they don't have it.
Exactly.
And so you kind of awaken that.
For sure. For sure. And so when I teach kids at the FIPS, I always have 2 classes in the summer, and they fill up because they're interior design, and the kids don't know that they're coming in and they're going to be like presenting abstract art. But you know what?
That's good.
If I'm teaching them how to draw their dream bedroom or how to draw their dream house, I've actually done a social experiment before that if I don't teach them this method, or if I don't teach them about expanding their right brain, they'll draw a box. And when I teach them this stuff, you know what they draw? They'll draw a hive. They'll draw tree houses.
Different
like they just blow their mind into the next layer of thought, because they've been taught that that's scary, and I teach them that you go there. You're going to go there in my class.
That's excellent. Yeah. Now, are you teaching this summer?
Yes, I am. I'm teaching July 7th and then a 3rd week in July.
Do you think they have openings?
I think the second class is still open.
Okay.
Yeah, usually right before it fills up.
All right.
Yep.
Well, I would hope that some of our listeners might be interested.
Yeah.
Sign up their children to go.
I think it's like 8 through 17, 8 to 17-year-olds.
Oh.
It's kids' classes.
Oh, that's a wide range.
Yeah. Well, smaller kids than that don't really jam with me.
That's true.
I don't really jam with super elementary kids.
Yeah, it's hard for the younger ones, I'm sure.
I do substitute teach as well at the middle school. And I just know that the teenage 13, 14-year-olds, they haven't been completely ruined by our society yet. And they're so expansive. I swear to God, I think 14 and 13-year-olds are geniuses. So
I have a husband who was a art teacher, so I've heard some of that
Oh
before.
my God. So funny.
I don't profess to be an artist that way.
Sure.
Because my thing is music.
Exactly. Yep.
But I've tried a little, and it was really hard for me to be creative.
Sure.
So I like what you're doing.
But this is your art here.
Yes.
Right?
This is part of it, I guess.
Yeah.
So, oh my goodness, we have to close down our interview now.
Okay.
But I just want to thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. This has been super
I've enjoyed
fun.
this.
Good.
I've just enjoyed talking to you so much and getting to know about you and your art.
Bring this down.
And we're going to take a little picture in a bit.
Okay.
Okay, so thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
And I do want to thank our audience for watching. I hope you enjoyed the interview. Like me, you probably learned a lot. So hopefully you can use it, or you try some of it yourself, or get involved. Thank you again for watching.